We're the Sparkle Jets. This is our podcast. It's called Best of Friends. Here we go now, yeah!
Welcome to our little podcasty thing. I'm Mike from Sparkle Jets UK. I've got Susan and I got Jamie back here from the band. And we've got our special guests, Christina and Rex from Big Stir Records that are hanging with us today here in the house. And we're talking to a bunch of our friends that wrote the original songs for our upcoming LP, Best of Friends on Big Stir, coming out June 30, 2023.
That's right, on vinyl, CD, and streaming everywhere.
There you go. And right now we've got with us my very good friend, Kerry, who goes by a few different monikers. His real name, of course, which I always want to make sure I say it right, but I think it's Chicoine.
Close enough. Right? Close enough for rock and roll.
Well, how should it be?
It's a French name, like French Canadian. It's pronounced Chicoine.
No way, right? Really?
Yeah.
Pronounced Chicoine. But you know what? Here being in the States, it's like, hey, Chicoine, motherfucker. What's up, man? Que tal, amigo? You know, just make it Spanish. But my whole thing about calling myself Kerry Kompost, the idea of compost for me came from the idea of taking all of my musical influences, putting them in a big fucking dirt pile, letting them ferment and meld, and then eventually something new is going to grow out of that, and that's going to be mine. That's going to be my take on whether it's prog rock or pop rock or whatever, R&B even. R&B, by the way, stands for raking and bagging. I don't know if you guys knew that. Do I need to repeat the story of the name Compost?
I would like to hear it.
I told my mom I was calling myself Compost, and she's like, "Oh, really? You mean like shit?" That's the kind of family I come from. That was Mom.
Hello, Kerry.
Hello, mates. Hi, Christina.
Hi.
I think I met you one time at IPO about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
What was that club down in that shitty part of Los Angeles?
Fado-Do.
Fado-Do, exactly. Yep. I played a Rush song at that gig. I was like, David Bash, dude, come on, bro. You think you're Mr. Power Pop? Listen to fucking Red Barchetta. That's a pop song, man. That's just nothing but melody.
Have you had power through this whole snow thing?
With the exception of two little brief 5-minute outages, I have been powered up. My vibrators have been able to keep recharged. Everything's been working good, so we're good. Thank God. Yeah, they've been working on the power lines up here for the last 2 years, so yeah. But right around the corner from me, a major line went down, a tree hit it, and they were out of power for like 5 days. When you're a heroin addict and you don't have access, boy, that can hurt. Nobody's like, you clean up fast. Exactly. You Keith Richards, man, you just get a blood transfusion, even if you have to take it over from a neighbor. So what is this album? Like, how many people have you guys covered? How many songs are there?
There's 21 songs.
20? Okay.
Yeah, which is a lot. It ended up being we had an original list that when we came up with this concept back in, I don't know when, 2000 or so, 2001, maybe at the latest. Most of the songs we did were on that list. We added a couple or shifted a few around, but basically, yeah, it was a lot.
Right. Are there any Adam Marsland songs on this?
Oh yeah, we did Ludlow 618.
You know what? I'm out. Take me off the release. Actually, Mike, I love you for this because, and this is no bullshit. I heard early mixes of the Ludlow 618 album from a former friend who I shall not mention his name. And it wasn't in sequence as the final album. And I just thought, I don't really like this. Then I heard Adam's release of Ludlow 618, and I'm not bullshitting you guys when I'm telling you that's one of my top 10 albums of all time. There's not a bad song on there. And the title cut, I can listen to that all fucking day. That bass line by Robert Ramos, it's just so great. So anyway, I joke about Adam because he tends to over promote. You can leave that in. But
really?
Yeah, sure.
You think so?
And you'll say, I was at your show last Saturday. Why aren't you here?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, one last night, we're here for the next. It's like Celine Dion when she played at Caesar's Palace, or like Celine Dion for the next 3 years is going to be at Caesar's Palace. And it's like, that doesn't really make me want to rush out and buy tickets, 3 years? Come on. Now, Adam, he's one of those guys. I'm going to fucking risk my reputation here. Fernando Perdomo. He's another one of those guys where I just had to unfollow him because it's just like, Jesus, give me 5 minutes to fucking rest in between your posts. I know he's super talented, fucking great musician, owns it all. There's no criticism there, but it's like, God, can you give me a rest? Part of the reason why I just dropped out of music altogether, man, the whole social media way of promoting yourself, it's hard. And I'm sure Rex and Christina will attest to that. And I know you will, Mike and Susan and Jamie. You know how hard it is these days.
So what we've decided to do to fix that is to start a podcast and talk to friends like you so they can shit on the entire enterprise. Because that seems like the way to go.
Was Paul McCartney out there every day of the week, 10 times a day, posting shit about the Beatles? No, you let your work speak for itself. And these days, it just seems like, people aren't quite so willing to do that. They're not willing to just let the work speak for itself. If it's good, then you're going to get fucking, attention or accolades or comments or whatever. But to do it yourself, to like try to promote yourself in that way, it just, I don't know, it got old to me. I tried it. Just trust me. I spent 10 good years, before Facebook started limiting posts and shit. Let's start this interview right from scratch right now. Hi, I'm Kerry. How you guys doing? We're talking about, what's the album called? My Best Friends?
Best of Friends.
Best of Friends. Beast of Fiends.
One summer Sunday afternoon in the hills of the Hollywood with you. You with your pink hair and polka dot dress and me in my Sunday shoes. It was the first time that I had realized I was blinded by love.
So, Kerry, we had this conversation earlier, and this really is one of my all-time favorite songs on the track of this whole album. And I thought it was interesting that you mentioned my bass playing being more groove oriented, because that's the approach that I wanted to take on your song, which was I'm listening to this great song and I'm going, God, this is like a classic. It could be on, any of those kind of radio stations that would do Steely Dan and things like that. So I made it really totally locked into the step to where Mike had to even change a couple of the percussion parts so that it was like totally groove and setting there. So it was fun.
I love that. That's a bass player to a bass player. Every time I join a new band, I tell all the other guys in the band, don't fuck with me because I will completely change your parts. I will change the drum beat. I will change your chords just with my notes or my feel. So yeah, thank you for that. And I love that you told Michael, hey, you got to rework this one part because this is what I'm playing there. So hit that on the drums.
Doesn't mean I did.
Yeah, you did. You did. What he did, though, is he accentuated. There was a percussion thing that he had done that I said, this needs to be more. That's what I'm cueing off of.
Yep. Love that, man.
And it was great.
Well, the verse.
I just love the storytelling and the lyrics. It means something special to me because I think I understand the story and I know it. And it just, it's happy, sad, sweet. And you're just a really good storyteller, Kerry.
Oh, man, what a bag of salted peanuts you just brought me.
Oh.
I'm a squirrel. That is awesome. Well, as you know, I wrote that song. I was really influenced by a band at the time called the Glad Hands. They were on Big Deal Records in the late 90s. Great fucking group of songwriters. Very Todd Rundgren, those major sevenths, those kind of chords. And I was also at the same time falling in love with our compatriot, our bro, our fucking girl, Nipper Sea Turtle, who just like knew everybody. And I was like getting in a relationship with her. And that song just came together one afternoon when she and I were like breaking into houses in the Hollywood Hills. We would go to like an open house and like Nipper would like mess with the fucking lockbox, right? She'd like mess with it and then boom, it's open. We're in the house. So that was one of those things, and she was just like such an eye opener for me at being like, a hipster or whatever, just being a socialite, somebody involved in Los Angeles. And, I'd moved to LA cold and not knowing anybody and spent a few years there. And then, meeting her and getting introduced to that whole scene and this whole lifestyle of it's like, wow, these people are all artists. These people are fucking working their asses off, playing music, writing plays, painting, visual arts, architecture, whatever it was, just opened my mind up. And that's how that song came about. A little bit of Todd Rundgren, a little bit of Los Angeles, and a lot of Nipper.
Gorgeous.
I love her, She's the only ex-girlfriend of mine who I'm still in touch with, who I love with all my heart, and she'll always be like a fucking like family to me, It's really magical. And I met all of you guys through her. If it wasn't for Nipper, I would have never met Robbie. And through Robbie Wrist, I met Susan and Mike and fucking Jamie, the whole band and Adam, Marsland and all that crew. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, wow. This is nothing like the 1980s where it's like, we're all heavy metal guys, like, with balls out, trying to outdo each other. The power pop scene really restored my faith in humanity. And I know that sounds dramatic, but it's the truth. You didn't want to go through the 80s hair metal band thing like I tried to go.
I still don't.
There's some good songs there. Unskinny bop bop. Come on. Everybody hates Poison, but I fucking love them, man. CeCe DeVille is such a train wreck. You can't learn to play that sloppy, right? Nirvana was the same thing. It's like, it's like, damn, this guy's not technical at all, but I can't play that. And to go right back to Frank Zappa, you guys know about the Shags, right? My pal, foot. The Shags are fucking so on the surface horrible, but they were able to replicate those songs over and over again in the studio and live. And to be able to play it that way with that sort of level of recklessness and like freedom, pretty fucking special.
I'll have to think about that.
Right. I'll have to think about you in a Ziploc baggie in my freezer. Oh, God, I got to get a bigger freezer.
Yeah, yes, you do. Maybe a couple. You could just leave me out on your porch. It's cold enough out there.
You know I love you with all my beard.
Well, see, okay, so this same song, I know that you had a demo, and I don't know exactly how it happened, but you came out to my house when I had my big studio downstairs, and we made that record, which is why it's so similar probably to this new one, because, I did both of them. I didn't play that much on it. The only thing I did play that I remember for sure was that solo. I played this guitar solo on the original. And so when I was making this cover, I did the same solo. And then I played Kerry this version just for fun. I talked to him, said, hey, listen to this song we did. And he goes, that's really great, man. Thanks. But there's one thing. Can you change that solo? I hate it. Can you play these notes instead? It's like, what? It's just really bizarre. So I said, sure, man. I'll play whatever notes you want. And he goes, no, just play the solo like this. And so then I just did it. Totally bizarre story.
Yeah, well, I never liked that solo you originally did.
Thanks a lot. That's great.
No, dude. Even though it was fine, like it was perfect. You're just restating the vocal melody in that solo, and I thought, okay, that's okay. It's a pop song. You don't need fucking Mike Keneally or Eddie Van Halen going out, or Alan Holsworth going outside.
Pretentious prog bitch.
It's not pretension, dude. Pretension means pretending. I'm not pretending on this, man. To me, music, like I said earlier before we started recording, music encompasses everything from Chuck fucking Berry to Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Alan, and beyond, Pat Metheny. It's all of it, it's just whatever feels good, whatever makes you feel in your heart, like this person, like this man or this woman is playing something that they actually fucking mean and feel. That's what it's about. So the genre doesn't matter. Who here is a country and Western fan? Christina. I just wanted to bring up Loretta Lynn because you talk about destroying somebody from the head to the toe. When I started hearing Loretta Lynn about 4 years ago, because I was never a country guy, it's like, oh my God, where did she come from? She not only wrote all this shit, she not only played all this shit, but she sang that stuff with such amazing conviction that it's just like, it's almost unbelievable to me. So my life over the last 10 years have been about like reducing my musicality, right? Reducing the number of chords, reducing everything to simplifying something where it's just a clear message. The guys from Leonard Skinner said that, like we just writing songs. We keep the lyrics as like, geared towards the average person, So it's been a different mindset. And you guys have played a role in that, Michael. You know me, boy.
Yeah, I mean, we did a few different things back then. Probably my favorite thing of all is this little number.
Uh-oh.
From a long dark night, sun shining bright. Morning, lazing and it feels so nice, stretching into paradise. It's hard to know if you're for real or just for show. Should I let go? Maybe let this feeling wondering just what you meant and pondering this sad intent. From how I see, you're no result of fantasy. It's plain to me you function biologically.
Yeah.
Right?
There you go.
There's a
That's
little taste of that.
A
Yeah.
little taste of that.
A little taste of that prog rock thing, that Alan Holdsworth, whatever. You know.
We'll have to write a girl version of the song.
What would that be called? Morning
Yeah.
What?
Give me your ATM number in the morning. La, 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 la. Something like that.
I like it. I'm all over that, literally. And you know what? Call the cops if it's a problem. Okay, let's go. Come on.
Goodness gracious me.
I know.
No,
Sorry.
and I don't even know if I'm going to put that in there. But the funny thing
Yeah,
about that
you're
song
gonna-
was, well, I mean, you were coming down. You were just coming down to record. I think we didn't know we didn't really have a plan.
No, I
You
had
had a few
three
songs.
No, I had 3 songs, like bits of songs that were put together, and you were the one who helped focus on it and say, okay, hey, let's do these chord changes and let's like tighten it up. And that was fucking huge, dude. You did a great job on that because there was a lot of fucking crazy shit going on, and you just like you focused in on what needed to be done and turned
And I
out.
know you were in a band or you were starting to play with a guy, and he was supposed to come the next day. And I don't remember exactly. Well, I remember. Well, okay, so the night before, the night you got there, we weren't really recording yet. We were just deciding what to do the next morning when we started. And you were playing that song. It was called Morning Dove. And of course, you know, I immediately probably said Morning Wood because I'm a 4-year-old and that's what we do.
You're a whacker.
And by the end of the night, we just jokingly made an entire set of lyrics with basically every dick joke that I could possibly, you know, put in that song.
No, that was a fun song, and we came up with a bunch of dick jokes, and you know, it was.
But it actually happened though. It shouldn't have happened. And you were like, "No, let's do it."
Fuck yeah, dude! Like Morning Dove was kind of gay, you know, even though like it was just nature thing. But talking about masturbation, that was guys masturbating. That was not gay at all.
Oh, what?
And then your bandmate came, who was a pretty serious cat. I mean, he was wearing a cardigan.
Who was that? I don't even remember who that was.
I don't remember his name. I want to say his name was Robert, but I don't think that was right.
Was he Japanese?
No, very much not. No.
It wasn't Rio.
He was a white dude. He didn't have much hair, and he was kind of skinny. And I remember he had a cardigan because he left it in my studio and was there for years, hanging on a chair. But he was very looked very reserved, and he was very knowledgeable and okay, blah blah blah. And like I was really expecting when I laid eyes on him, I'm thinking, oh man, that he's gonna absolutely be so pissed that we turned this song into basically a big penis joke. And then he was like, I just can't remember him listening to it or just kind of going, okay, cool, yeah, I know where we can put some harmonies on this. And then he sang some parts and I sang some parts and I did the little guitar solo and that was it, I think.
I don't think the song is jokey. I like it. I've never thought of it as a joke.
Well, it is supposed to be a joke. I mean, it's
Well, I'm sorry, it's not.
satin intent. It's not sad intent. It's satin
Tent, right? Dude, that was our little homage to Jellyfish. He's my best friend. You know, a great jack off song. You know,
not a song that you jacked off to, but it was a song about.
song about.
Yeah, song about. I want to clarify. For real.
I was thinking today, you know, I was listening to, a band called Lakeside, and they did a cover of I Want to Hold Your Hand in a soul version. And I was thinking of that bridge, and I was thinking, rewriting the lyrics to say, and when I touch me, I feel happy inside, right?
Well, yeah.
Single life. This is the single life. Anyway, you worked hard on all the fucking shit that we've ever worked on, dude. And I appreciate everything you've done for me. You are ridiculously, amazingly talented. And if I could afford it, I would have you living in my basement, feeding you cat food and a little bit of fucking chicken broth and just saying, hey, I need drums. You know, yeah, I got 10 minutes. Give me some drums. Remember that time?
You can still do that if you want.
Remember when we did Ricky Don't Lose That Number and you were up at the cabin and I was like, let me go home and get some things that I need from home to do this. And like literally 10 minutes later, I was back at your house. You had the whole fucking drum track down.
Yeah.
I was like, I need this guy living with me, you know, and also in a subservient position so I don't have to deal with your demands.
That song came together pretty quick. I remember just.
That was an afternoon.
4 o'clock.
Yeah. just like 3 or 4 hours at the most, I think. And I only did the one vocal take, I think. And I said, here, let's see how this goes. I've never tried to sing this before. And I was having fun because I knew you were in the other room kind of listening in. So I'm like, I'm just going to try to nail this real quick. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to try the harmony now. Boom. Third harmony. Boom. It was kind of fun for me to how fast that went. The piano part took a little longer, but
the only thing I regret about that track is my guitar solo was kind of, a little bit fluffy floppy, a little bit, nebulous, if you will, not focused. But who's going to follow Jeff fucking Skunk Baxter?
But see, everybody thinks it's that I played it, Kerry.
Thank God. Oh,
and the thing is,
that's a huge relief.
But even if you think it was a crap solo, and basically everyone that I've played it for thinks it's a crap solo too, but they think it's me. and the fact is that I couldn't have played it as well as you played it, even if it was crap. So it's a win-win really across the board.
I think we did like 3 takes on that, and I remember my cat had bitten me on my right hand that day, and my hand was all swollen. So I play left-handed. So right, you don't remember that, do you?
It's all about swollen.
It's all about being bitten by a cat, dude.
Yeah. Okay. Good. That's a good excuse if you can pull it off. I don't remember any of that.
So what's the excuse for just not being inspired anymore to want to play music?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Why do you do it?
What's why I did it in the past was for simply one fucking reason. Number one, to capture my songs in a pro recording type situation. And number 2, to play a gig. I don't care if it was 5 people or 50 people or a fucking 700 people fucking auditorium. It was about playing live that gave me so much fun. But you know what? I've got a guy right now who wants me to play in his band, and we've got like 4 gigs coming up. It's a trio. It's $150 a gig. And it's like, oh my God, I'm going to get $50 for basically 6 hours of work, 2 hours of setup, 2.5 hours of playing, an hour and a half of breakdown. It's like, man, just to get some of these mountain people to like clap and say, hey, yeah, that was great. You guys rocked or whatever, or you guys sucked. I don't know, man. I'm
preaching to the choir, bro.
I'm in a place where I'm just really struggling right now with like, does music even really matter at this age? I know to younger people, it definitely matters. It's a lifestyle. But at my age, at 60, I'm kind of feeling a little bit like Andy Partridge. First of all, Andy and I have both written great songs. I hope you get that as a joke. I love Andy Partridge. But like, he's done with music. He's like, man, I've got like 500 ideas that are unfinished. I just don't see the point of finishing them. So that's where I'm coming from these days. That's what I'm kind of struggling with. I'm proud of all the work I've done back in the 90s, 2000s, 2010s. I'm proud of all that stuff. And but it's just like I'm not in that same headspace anymore where it's like I'm distracting myself from the reality of my existence by strictly focusing on music. And so that's what remains to be seen. But I got to thank you for keeping my shit alive and all of our friends. This fucking, who else you doing on this album? Do you have any Rick Gallego?
No, I didn't. I that would have been good. I didn't. You don't like? I don't think we were super hip to that at the time when this idea was germinating. And that's basically the list I kind of started with. I plugged a few extras on, but that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I love Rick Gallego and I love Cloud 11. I love everything he does. And, it might not be the most mind-blowing thing all the time. It might just be like this simple fucking 3-chord progression that you've heard a million times, but something about him getting away with it and making it work, And so it's just, I don't know, man. I'm a little confused right now about where I'm at in life when it comes to music, Maybe it's time to move on. Maybe it's time to like regroup, So that's what this next year, the rest of this year is like. That's my quest. It's like, okay, am I going to keep playing? Am I going to work on being a bass player? Because I think, Michael, you might know this, and I know Jamie fucking definitely knows this. Being a bass player in a band is something really fucking valuable. You are the one running that band, okay? Yeah, the drummer is definitely the key component. But as the bass player, you are basically controlling the situation. you know? So, and I love that. I love it when I'm playing in a band and I come up with a bass line that completely changes everything. But my point is like, you know, is it worth doing this for all the labor? You know, especially up here when I got to carry my amp up fucking, 30 flights of stairs, you know?
Well, make records then. You don't have to leave the house for that. And
Right.
I've told you 100 times, it's easy.
You
It
know,
really is. Capture. See, here's the thing. You don't have to worry about any of the fancy this or that. You just capture the parts. And then like you have somebody like me,
clean it up.
clean it for you. Yeah, that's fine.
No, dude, I've got a good recording system and a good fucking microphone with that. My Rode NT1 is pretty fucking great for anything that I'm doing with air. Everything else can be direct. I get it.
Then get off the phone after you've dug yourself out, after you've dug your car out of this 9-foot snowbank. Lay down some tracks, biatch. Come on. The world needs to hear your shit.
Yeah, like I said, man, dude, if I was in a band that was fucking starting to play 1,000-seaters or 1,500 people, where you had some growth, some upward steps, it would be great. But at this point, I've done what I've wanted to do. I played at these shitty fucking small town bars and, had a great time, got laid, and, the whole thing. It's like, what's next? Like, what does it take to get it to the next level? My prog bands were invited like to England, Quebec City, fucking Mexico City. They would usually cover the airfare and the hotel, but everything else was like on us. And it was just like, I was like, why am I spending $10,000 to go play in front of 500 people? It's like, what, I'm still wrestling with that. And I think that's a broader question for all of us. And so for those of you like Rex and Christina and Susan and fucking Jamie and you, Michael, the question is like, is it worth it? Is it worth that?
It's interesting though, when you talk like that. So we're getting to the real core of it. And we also were just talking with Flora Pop, who are going to do some work now, but they were saying they weren't feeling it for a while, and they knew when it was calling to them. Us, we're like the, absolutely nurturing of everyone. But there is definitely a part of me that knows there's too many damn people doing it, and there's some of them shouldn't be. Or there's people that are, whether they would come out and say it, they're punching the clock because the current thing you're supposed to do is just put stuff out. So no one forgets about you because it's every 2 seconds, it's a different thing happening. I do feel like there's a point where people need to be more, self-analytical or cultivate the kind of self-knowledge to understand, am I doing the thing I really want to do? Or am I punching the clock? Am I told that I've got to have a single out every 6 months on Spotify or else everyone's going to forget me? Because people don't forget. It's not about that. Everything that we're talking about right now with this project is evidence that people don't forget. It's the first record from these guys, the first full album from these guys in how long now? With
Bamboo Lounge came out in 2002.
So there you go. And there's still, an audience. And even beyond that, the material they're putting forward is material that's really fondly remembered from the time when it was new. And as you guys trade your stories a lot around, it's not just the remembrances of a great time. It's the material. It was the material was a whole bunch of people inspiring each other, and feeding off of that energy and doing what I always talk about in terms of the Big Stir community and the community that's around that. It's a tiny, tiny little version of that Brian Wilson and Paul McCartney thing. Just the smallest version of us hearing something this band's doing and saying, they nailed it. That puts us, that ups our game. And people trading around demos, it still happens on a low level. But that's when it's hitting. That's when that there's a spark that people are responding to and passing around and stuff like that. And I'm not by any means going to endorse you in your particular situation saying, I'm done. Because I don't think anyone's ever done. But I also think it's interesting to have the self-knowledge to be like, which I think is lacking in a lot of people that feel like they have to keep cranking material out. To know when you're operating with the proper amount of inspiration, with something that because, if you're, when you feel it, like I said, we're talking to a band that hasn't done anything, for a long time too. And they're suddenly feeling it and it's, you'll hear that. You'll hear that. And I think that's the kind of stuff that will be inspiration.
And it's always great to remind people too, when you come up with new stuff, they'll go deep diving into the back catalog, especially if you get the word out. I know you said earlier about the social media overload, but we don't know how else. We don't have the money that major labels do to pay for all the advertising that they pay for and they force things onto people. All we can do is just hope that the music reaches the people that follow us because they like the music and discover their next new favorite band and then deep dive into the back catalog.
And we do believe in that collapsing of the Venn diagram. Like, there are going to be people that have picked up on Mike's stuff in recent years, that didn't know it before. And then, have thought, oh yeah, that was Sparkle Jets was a thing. And he's worked with all these other people. So there's going to be people that are hearing, this as their first new Sparkle Jets UK record. And it points back to so many other things, not just for them, but for all the bands that are being covered. And some of them are still out there being active, and that means that there's some of their fans will come into this record from that angle. And again, it's just these Venn diagrams, these different fan bases, and the idea of just, bringing them all together, and then they just can spread back out and discover each other. But that, yeah, like Christina was saying, we don't have the advertising money to just shove it down your throat.
So it's got to be, and I told two friends and they told two friends and so on and so on and so forth,
Organic, which is a word that people use, when they're trying to make it feel this way, but it's actually artificial. So it's almost like a bad word on its own right. But that's what it really is.
But also, I think through something like this, it's going to make people jealous that they weren't there during that scene.
It's true.
I think you're right.
I am so grateful I got to be a part of that. And I was a latecomer to the whole thing. I kind of joined up in the power pop scene around 1999. And it had been,
same for us.
Yeah.
We were the last band in the door, I think.
Right. And it was so fun and so magical to see like the Wonderments and then to see them go on to what they did and stuff like that. Yeah. It was fucking great times, man. And there was some legitimate music. Like I said, Adam Marsland's Ludlow 618 album with Cockeyed Ghost. That's one of my Desert Island discs. I'm going to take that one with me till I fucking take my dirt nap. Great fucking songs. Despite him being like such a overt, self-promoter and stuff, God bless him for that. I love that about him. That's who he is. That's part of it. But he actually could back up the talk,
Yeah, he's no joke. I mean, I did a live gig with him once, playing like Ludlow and Jinnaling and something else.
Jinnaling.
It was brutal. The songs were not easy.
No,
I think I was playing bass. It was one of the harder things I've had to do, and he was kind of taskmastery and in a good way. He wasn't like a jerk at all. He was totally fine, but it was like, no, this has to be good. This has to be better. It's like, oh.
Right. Don't you love that? Dude, I played guitar with him one time at a party. I played guitar on the song How Can You Stand It? And he told me right off the bat, man, he's like, dude, you got to turn down. You got to be a little bit, more of this, more of that. It wasn't like you said, it wasn't an ego thing. He was just like fucking concerned about the sound, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. I'll turn down notches or a few dB or whatever,
I think a lot of people might feel that way or want to be that way, but we're all, too afraid to upset people that we just kind of let it go.
Well, we also have workarounds kind of, I mean, like, because people do have different processes and we can sort of appreciate that. And as long as it's, not trash, usually if you're open to those collaborative things, they're going to open new doors, in the material. And we're also diplomatic enough to finesse it.
Yeah. One thing that caught me off guard and caught me by surprise was with the close, the shutdown of COVID a couple of years ago. I thought, fuck, man, I'm just going to do nothing but write and record. And it actually had the actual opposite effect where I just became really fucking uninspired and lethargic and stuff. So I'm looking to fight my way back out of that because I know that what I have to offer has some value, that it's not just repetitive or something that's been done before. I know I do my own thing. So hopefully I'll get that fucking inspiration back. And part of what you guys have done with this release with me and all my fucking friends, people I fucking know who've written great songs, it's kind of given me some hope again to say, you know what, let's step back out there and get out of that mindset of like life is falling apart and the country's going to shit and politically things are horrifying. And just
which is true.
Well, yeah, no, that's a big bummer for me, but we're not going to talk about that here, about politics and how depressing it's been, over the last 8 years, or whatever. But thank you guys for giving me hope to keep it going again. And thank you so much, Michael and Susan and Jamie and fucking Rex and Christina for keeping this going, especially Rex and Christina with fucking Big Stir Records. You guys got a magazine, you guys are doing, I know you're fucking balls deep in this, and I'm sure
we are.
Well, it's costing you guys money, but you know what? You guys have the heart and the belief in it. A guy like David Bash also still has the heart and belief in it. So, it gives me hope that I'm not lost in this quagmire of that those days are over and nobody gives a shit about what you do anymore. Maybe we can keep this going.
I mean, I think the key thing to do is to keep looking at new ways. Trying to find, it may not be there, but to me, like what we try to do in terms of getting it out there, and what I feel like this Sparkle Jets record is a big part of that, or at least a reflection of that, is you just can't do it the way it always has been done because the world doesn't stand still. But the core of the music, the core of the creative process, that's so worth preserving. That what we've done with the label is learn a bunch of stuff we had no idea how to do 6 years ago, and half of it doesn't work, and so you gotta hide and keep learning the next thing. But what it's an effort to preserve is the stuff that was captured when these original versions of these songs were made and recaptured again when these guys have done the remakes. And,
right on, Rex. And
if that means it's inspirational to anyone.
Well, in the bigger picture with Big Stir Records, you guys are keeping this stuff going against all odds. And, I just hope there's a human being out there that's looking at you and saying, damn, man, these guys have the belief,
it helps. It helps
going for it.
It helps to hear that.
Even though I don't have the money to fucking give you $1,000 fucking GoFundMe or whatever. The inspiration though, to say, hey man, these guys believe in this stuff and they're pulling it off, they're making it go. That means more to me than anything.
And in return, that means a lot to us too. That's,
well, the Los Angeles power pop scene has always, to me, felt like a very small family.
Yeah.
It might be 300, 400 people, right?
Right.
Kind of a lot of people, but we all know each other. We all support each other. There's some amazing fucking talents out there. I appreciate the appreciation for the stuff I've done, but there's other guys and gals out there who have been signed to major labels back in the fucking 90s and shit, who's like Michael Simmons. You'll talk to me about Ben Eshbaugh.
He'll be talking to us in a subsequent episode.
What song did you cover of his, or is that remaining a surprise?
Oh no, we did another myself.
Ah man. What a great fucking team. Dude, is there anything better than Sweet Polly Brown?
No.
Right, that's one of the greatest songs. Do you know Rush Riddle? I mean, Rush is dead now.
Yeah.
Right, he had a jukebox in his house down in West Adams, and he had the original 45 of Sweet Polly Brown, which was slightly different than the one that came out on the Bang the Earth is fucking flat or whatever it is.
Yeah, I got one from him, or I was about to get one from him just before he died. I was talking to him.
Do you have Ottawa Bonesaw?
I do, yeah. I have it.
You son of a bitch.
Come down and see.
I'm going to have to sell mine just to say, okay, he's the only one with it.
All right, go dig yourself out, dude.
Such great stuff. We had such a fantastic scene going on. I will tell you guys this, man. In 2019, up here in Crestline, my heart was like so elated and filled with helium balloons because there were so many people moving up here. Young people, musicians, artists, all these fucking, entrepreneurs and stuff. And I thought this town is about to turn into Silver Lake 10 years ago. All hipsters moving up here. And then COVID came along and it kind of just put a fucking dead stop to it. But I still believe in my heart that there is another chance for some sort of a revival for those of us of like mind to get together, make something happen, make some commerce go along with the art, and have a legitimate fucking business model and something that not only is, monetized, but also is like building part of a community. So that's where I'm at here, right?
Oh, yeah.
There we go. So you guys in LA, boy, you guys got your work cut out for you.
We do.
I don't know if I'm ever coming back to Los Angeles. It's
with
it's scary.
At this point, we almost, the kind of scene that you guys had at that time, there's almost never enough people really like active in one community. And that's one of the reasons why Big Stir is, gathering artists from the UK, and we've got Swedish artists, we got Finnish artists, and of course all over the US, we like that. I mean, it's, if there's never going to be, and COVID might have been one of the last nails in the coffin, a vibrant live scene in one geographical area. We've got that head start on getting all these like-minded hearts and souls together, wherever that can happen, in whatever form that takes. So.
Yep. Well, Rex and Christina, thank you guys so much for keeping it alive. All the great bands you put out over the last 6, 7, 8 years now?
Six years.
6 years.
Right? Yeah, it's been a while.
That's pretty young for a label.
I know, right? You're paying them records, but hopefully, one day soon, at some point, I'll have the funds and the motivation to put together a record, because I've got an album. I've got fucking like 18 songs. It's going to be a solid fucking record, which to me, there's not a bad song on it. It's just, boy, I got to relearn all that stuff.
Right.
You're always relearning and always
relearning,
always taking on board the next stuff that makes it work. Right?
Well, I'm looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward
All of
to
us
it.
are.
All right, Michael, thank you so much. Susan, Rex, Christina, Jamie.
Good
Kerry?
to see you, Kerry.
Thanks, Kerry.
All right, you guys. Who's next up? Heidi Rodewald?
Perhaps. We shall see.
Save the best for last, man. She's amazing. And solve the Negro problem and Stu. Here's what, let me just close out with this. Michael and Susan, you guys, and Jamie, you guys will remember the early Negro problem. Very Burt Bacharach. Tons of chord changes, right? It's like, oh boy, this is really detailed. And then the last time I saw Stu, which was probably about 8 years ago, the songs were so simple, but the lyrics were so completely perfect and captivating. It was like watching a fucking movie. And I was like, how did this guy evolve, from this, this fucking prog pop guy into this simple thing where it's just all about truth. So I guess that's where ultimately I'm hoping to head one day. Doesn't have to be about the chord changes or the Keith Emerson shit. You don't have to go, roll up. You can just do something simple and just keep the truth happening. So everybody keep it going. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You guys all let me know when I can talk about this. Okay.
Let's do it.
Because I'll promote.
May.
All right.
Okay.
May.
I hopefully I'll still be around by then,
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, you guys. Much love. Have fun with Heidi, okay?
Lots of love to you. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
One summer Sunday afternoon in the hills above Hollywood with you with your pink hair and polka dot dress, and me and my son